Hey WWB Universe, it's me, the varsity athlete Jeremy Bodette, coming to me with a midweek update. Coming to you hot. We're going to be talking about Grand Slam Australia, what happened, how it went, and why I think that the Grand Slam Australia is the perfect encapsulation of why AEW is struggling and will probably never be a successful company unless they make some drastic changes. Let's check it out. All right, guys, here we go. Grand Slam Australia is in the books. We're going to be talking about it. I'm going to give you the ins and outs, ups and downs, high spots, cheap shots, give you the lowdown, and then my take on it. But first, before I get into that, please give us some love down below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Love seeing those subscription numbers going up. Thank you very much, guys. If you have subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're about to, please pause right now, hit that subscribe, hit that bell. Let us know you love us so that we can keep this content coming at you. All right, here's the deal. Grand Slam Australia happened this past weekend. It was Saturday night. There were some really good things, and there were some really, really bad things that happened about this show. And I need to break it down for you guys because this, for me, as I'm watching it in real time, I'm thinking this is the perfect encapsulation for what is wrong with AEW. Why you either love AEW or you hate AEW. This is the perfect encapsulation, and I'm going to go through it with you right now, match by match, and then I'm going to talk about the overarching theme here of this video, which is going to be that AEW does not act in a way that a professional wrestling company at their level needs to act. They are pretending that they are amateurs. Amateurs. They need to get better. Just let me get into it before I lose my mind. The show opens with what was probably expected to be the show stealer of the night. I mean, this was Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega against Takeshita and Fletcher. Fletcher, hometown favorite, Australian native, got over really great with the crowd. Kenny Omega got over great with the crowd. Will Ospreay got over great with the crowd. It was a very technically sound match, very technically solid match. Told a good story. It was given an A+ rating by Bleacher Report, which I think made it the highest rated match of the night. And I think looking at the matches of the night, it probably was the best match of the night. But here's the problem. Even though this was a tag team match that meant very little overall in the grand scheme of things, no titles on the line, no huge feuds going on back and forth, no year-long storyline between these two teams, they didn't let Kyle Fletcher get over. They didn't let Kyle Fletcher kick ass. And when you don't give any love to the home crowd doesn't give any love to you. And on top of that, this match went, I think, 23 minutes. Let me look at the official time slot. 23 minutes and 50 seconds for this match. I got to tell you guys, I almost fell asleep in the middle of this match. And it was the most exciting, technically sound match of probably the entire night. And I fell asleep during it. So what does that tell you? Second match of the night, Mercedes Moné versus Harley Cameron. This was one that had some build to it. Cameron is an up-and-comer. She's outstanding. This ventriloquism thing she's doing, this rapping thing that she's doing, she's probably the most hilarious thing that's going on in all of professional wrestling right now. It gets over great with the crowd. She's an Australian native, home team. Like, you would think they would give her some love. Moné puts the TBS championship up. She has 4 different belts. She's walking out with 4 belts. What an amazing opportunity to put one of your young, homegrown talents over during one of your incredibly rare trips to Australia. Do they do it? Do they put Harley Cameron over and strip 1/4 of Mercedes Moné's belts off of her? Nope, they don't do that. She has essentially the equivalent of a C+ match. They hit their finishers over and over and over again 1,000 times on her. And does it end with a finisher or a signature move? No. It ends with like a roll up. Moné rolls her up and pins her, and that's the end of the match. And do they get a pop? Is there a great relief? Does any heat get built? No, not at all. Nothing. Another disappointing match. Cameron gets a great pop on her entrance, and that was probably the best pop of the match. All right, let's move on. Third match of the night. Death Riders versus Jay White and Adam Copeland, Edge. Edge got such an incredible welcome from that crowd. I mean, this was WWE style. They sang Metalingus, his theme song, back at him. You could tell watching it in real time. It was a fabulous moment for him. He was in love with the crowd. The crowd was in love with him. They knew damn well that this could very well be the last time that they see him, and they really tried to make it special for him. And the match was not particularly special. This match, actually, I give him a little bit of credit because it didn't really linger at all. Okay, 14 minutes and 40 seconds for what ended up being a Brisbane brawl, which just meant no holds barred, whatever, no disqualifications. Okay, fine. Got a little bit of color. Like, these are the things that are supposed to separate AEW from WWE, right? Like the extremity, like the willingness to go above and beyond. John Moxley's back looked pretty gnarly by the end of it. There was some really good spots. Obviously, Jay White and, the Death Riders guys, like, they can put on a great show. And I think this match ended up getting like a B rating, which I pretty much agree with. But with all the love that Cope got going into this match, how does the match end? Cope gets submitted. He gets submitted. I know that this is leading up to a situation where Moxley's going to put his belt on the line at the beginning of March against Cope, and that's all well and good. And I can understand, I guess, if you didn't want Cope and Jay White to go over, if you wanted the Death Riders to continue their winning streak, but to have the guy that's getting over on the crowd better than anybody else, probably got over better except for maybe the very, very end of the show. The end of the main event, when Toni Storm goes over and takes her belt back. Spoiler alert for the next 30 seconds. He gets over best with the crowd. You have him be the one that gets emasculated on the mat. Okay, you're really undermining the guy that's actually supposed to be challenging for your World Heavyweight Championship. You're really cutting his balls off. Joke. B match, F ending. All right, next up. Okada versus another hometown hero, Buddy Matthews. And this one, they actually put the Intercontinental Championship up for grabs. And you know what? Things actually weren't going that good. Like, this was like a B-plus match, I would say, overall. There was some good spots overall. Matthews, of course, got a great pop. I don't know why you wouldn't give a guy like Buddy Matthews the championship. Did you promise Okada that he'd hold a belt? Was that part of the incredible deal that you signed with him to get him to come over to you? That he'd have to hold a belt the entire time? What a ridiculous thing to promise. You're basically handing over your creative to somebody if you do that. Like, why would you ever do that? That's like late stage WCW level stupidness when they handed over all of their creative over to Hogan. Like, if they did that, they deserve to fail. I sincerely hope that they didn't do that. But that's the only reason that I could possibly imagine, right? You've denied Flesher. You've denied Cope. You've denied Cameron. Now you're going to deny Buddy Matthews, and that's exactly what they did. Matthews did the best that he could with it. Clearly, there was some weird stuff with the ankle that happened when he came out, but it really didn't. It was, you know what it was? It was a popcorn match. And this is what it ended up being. Buddy Matthews could have won the International Championship in front of his hometown. He could have given the belt to another guy. He could have taken Okada down a notch. And they chose not to do it. And this one is probably the most forgivable of all the bad choices that they made tonight. But it still isn't. It's a bad choice that they made. Mariah May versus Toni Storm. This was the main event. Mariah May was holding the belt. Timeless Toni Storm was doing this more of a face turn type situation. And basically it ends in the equivalent of like a B match, in my opinion, where Toni Storm wins her belt back. And she's the hometown favorite because she's from Australia. So she gets a really great pop at the end of it. That was it. All of that build up for Toni Storm to become the first 4-time women's champion. I don't know what that's worth. I don't know what that means. Why anyone cares? I mean, here under notable moments, I see Storm's mother made her gear for the match. Okay, not sure why that's pertinent. The way Storm hit the guardrail looked brutal. Yeah, there were some good spots in the match. Actually, between the two matches of the night, the women's matches of the night, I'd say this was probably the more solid of the two matches. I definitely was more engaged and more interested in this one by the end of it. Doing all of these things, making all of these creative mistakes, is very typical. The lesson that AEW hasn't learned, okay, up to this point, the lesson that they desperately need to learn if they're going to be successful is this. It's very, very simple. This is the lesson. I'm going to give it to you, Tony. A bad match with a great ending is a good match. A great match with a shitty ending is a shitty match. Okay? It doesn't matter how many flying high spot elbow Canadian destroyer supernova flips you do. It doesn't matter how coordinated and smooth all of the transactions happen. It doesn't matter how perfectly all the spots go off, how great the production value is, what the costumes look like, how big the fireworks are, the crowd sizes. None of it means a damn thing if the fans get to the end of the match and they get zero catharsis, zero tension relief. The rubber band has to snap. And if we see people kick the can down the road again and again and again and again, eventually you get go away heat. You get F you, go away. I'm not signing up for your kayfabe. I don't believe in this shit anymore. Tony hasn't learned that lesson yet. Each one of these matches could have been a barn burner. You didn't have to go the opposite way on all these matches. You didn't. You should have done a mix. You should have done a little, I'm going to give you what you want, Australia, and then I'm going to take it away. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of you want, Australia, and then I'm going to take it away. He didn't do that this time. He had a bunch of honestly, the matches themselves were very, very solid. This was a pay-per-view level event that was on television on a Saturday night, okay? Like, this was a pay-per-view level event, 100%. Titles were on the line, matches were very solid, and guess what? Every A or A- match got brought down to a C because the ending was a D or an F. And until Tony Khan learns that very, very simple lesson, okay? You can't continue to kick your fans in the balls creatively like this. Every once in a while, you want to pull the rug out from underneath them. It's great. It's exciting. It's interesting. It injects a level of complexity and confusion that adds value to the product. But you cannot deny the fan base over and over and over again. And so what are we talking about today? All this stuff that I've talked about, this deep analysis, watching the show, paying attention to the moves, the stories, grading it. Is anybody actually talking about that today? When you go on the internet today, is that what people are talking about Grand Slam? No, that's not what they're talking about. They're not talking about that at all, okay? What were they talking about going into Grand Slam? Let's back up a little bit here. Going into Grand Slam, what were people talking about? Were they talking about how this was going to be an amazing show? AEW's first real trip to Australia? All the great Australian talent that they've got that they can really showcase in front of a home crowd? Lay the groundwork for maybe an all-in Australia? Something like that? Did they do anything like that? No, that's not what they were talking about. They were talking about how Tony Khan screwed everybody, right? Because they were going to have it at this huge venue, 52,000 seats. And when tickets didn't sell, what did they do? They moved to a smaller venue in Brisbane. Oh, that happens, right? That has to happen. Oh, okay, that happens. Then they can't sell tickets. They can't fill the venue. People are pissed. Why? Because they paid pay-per-view stadium seating pricing for something that's going to be in an inside arena now. They paid pay-per-view 52,000 seat prices, and now they're getting collision replacement 12,000 seat stadium ticket pricing. On top of that, the venue is now 30 minutes away from where they were before. People were spending thousands upon thousands of dollars. And guess what, guys? We live in the age of the internet. You can't keep that shit secret. And did Tony Khan call them or some representative of AEW call these fans and go, hey, listen, we know what happened. We know you guys are our greatest fans. You were first in the door. You deserve some of the greatest treatment we have. We can't refund your money, unfortunately, for one reason or another. But here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to get you this extra merch. We're going to get you this meet and greet. We're going to get you some signed merchandise from performers or from some talent. We're going to give you something to show you that we appreciate that you were first in line. You were up front investing your hard-earned money with us, and we realized it didn't work out the way that we wanted to, but we want to let you know how much we value you. And he didn't. He fucking ignored it. And when the people started calling him out on it, people in the media started saying, what's going on, Tony? Like, you're offering 2-for-1 specials now. It's a week out. You can't sell tickets. People are getting pissed at it. He gaslit the fan base. He came out and he said, oh, no, this is what Turner wanted the entire time. They wanted us to come in off of the end of the All-Star game. Not even the All-Star game, the pre-All-Star game, the Saturday night All-Star game events, right? The 3-point shooting contest and the dunk contest. Oh yeah, they really thought that would be a great lead-in for us. No, nobody bought it. It wasn't even a good lie. So now the fan base knows that you don't appreciate them. They know that you're willing to lie to them. And it looks like you just don't give a shit because you keep doing it over and over again. Okay? It pissed off everybody. Despite all that bullshit. And the crowd actually booed him pretty hard. You can look on the internet now. There's videos of him getting booed. Okay? They didn't take it out on the product. They didn't take it out on the talent. They showed the talent as much love, sometimes more love than they deserved. They were very, very forgiving. AEW fans showed, especially international AEW fans, showed how forgiving they were. So, during the show, I'm watching the show, and what do I notice? It starts 20 minutes late. Why? Why does it start at 20 minutes late? It's supposed to start at 10:30. Now it's not starting until almost 11 o'clock. Why? Because it's coming off the end of the All-Star festivities, and we can't interrupt the All-Star festivities. No, we can't possibly do that. Now, this isn't necessarily Tony Khan's fault, all right? But it is the fault of deciding to line yourself up after the All-Star Game festivities, okay? You know that you are going to be second bananas, and they're going to do whatever they want to do. That makes the fans on this side of the pond, it makes it more difficult for them to watch and enjoy the show. People were talking about that. Why did it start 20 minutes late? Why is it even later now, and I'm going to have an even harder time enjoying this show? The biggest thing that broke on the internet during the show was, why the F does that ring look so damn small? That looks like a 16 by 16 ring. Whole time, throughout the whole show, everybody's out. They're like, this is a small ring. What's going on? People are tweeting about it. It's all over the internet in real time. I watched it happen myself. All over the internet. So during the show and after the show, what comes out? Oh, no, that was a very standard ring. It was an 18 by 18 ring, and we always use an 18 by 18 ring, and it's very standard. Even QT Marshall came out and was defending the fact that the ring didn't look weird. The ring definitely looked weird, dude. You could see the end supports were folded in. The ropes looked like they were taped like shit. Like, this looked like an amateur independent cob job. This did not look like a high-class, top-of-the-line, international, WWE, and what should be AEW level event. There was a lack of quality there. And instead of owning it, right? Instead of saying, hey guys, for whatever reason, we didn't get a ring here on time, and the rumor on the internet now is that Fletcher stepped up, to his credit, called some of his friends down in Sydney at the old independent promotion that he worked with, and was like, hey guys, we need a ring here, lickety-split. And they busted ass to get a ring up there on time for the show, and the amateurs were the ones that set it up, which is why it looked the way that it did, apparently. That's what the rumors were. And all these people behind the scenes were coming out. Even QT Marshall came out on X and was like, no, this is, very standard. There's nothing weird about this at all. Bullshit. And we know it's bullshit because you can't pee on our legs and tell us that it's raining, okay? I know that that's a pumpkin painted black. It's not a bowling ball. Don't lie to me. And you lied to me before, and you're lying to me now. And anybody that can look at any picture of the wide hard cam shot of any domestic AEW show that they've done will look at that hard camera shot, and then they'll compare it to the one that they saw at Grand Slam Australia, and they're going to say, yep, not the same fucking thing. And you're lying to me. You're lying to me. You want me to believe you instead of my eyes. Bullshit, not happening, not going to do it. So let's talk. So this is what people are talking about right now. This is what people are talking about right now. They're talking about the ring size. They're talking about how people got screwed. This was a brilliant opportunity to go out there and work internationally. And they fucked it up. They effed it up. They screwed it up royally. And the reason why people are running around talking about ticket sales, and they're talking about ring sizes, and they're talking about venue moves, is because the product isn't satisfactory. The fans will give you all kinds of breaks when it comes to crowd sizes. The fans will give you all kinds of breaks when it comes to the ring. What they won't give you a break for is lying to them and having a shitty quality product. And that's exactly what we got provided here. No fault to the performers whatsoever. They did the best they could with what they had. The only part of this process that the performers own is from bell to bell. That's where they shine. And they shined at this Australian show. They really did. They shined. You know who didn't shine? Tony fucking Khan didn't shine. He fucked up everything going into the show. He knew he couldn't sell 52,000 tickets, so he moved the venue. And then he screwed the fans over, and he didn't care about the fans, so he sold tickets at half price to the new fans, to the latecomers, to the scalpers, to whoever wanted to buy them. Screwing over the desperate fans, the fans that became desperate. Screwing over the real dedicated fans that wanted to come and see this show, that wanted to see AEW, that loved the talent, that had probably been watching for years and was watching the talent before AEW even existed. Screwed them over. And then during the match, he screwed him over. Whatever happened with the ring, it's going to be Tony Khan's fault. Okay, a fish rots from the head down. And whether it was a problem with the ring not getting shipped there in time, or the ring that was there came out broken, or whatever the reason was that they didn't have a standard AEW ring there, it's going to be Tony Khan's fault. And he fucked it up. And so now that's all that we're going to talk about. That's all that we're going to talk about now, because the quality of the product is crap, and there's very little that we can say about it. Yep. From bell to bell, everything was wonderful. But guess what? After the bell, the way the matches ended up, it wasn't satisfactory to anybody. And everything that happened before the show started, with the venue moving, and the ticket prices going wacky, and then offering shit for free, and then people spending thousands of dollars on what ended up being a complete waste of money, and making it ridiculously hard to watch for people domestically. I honestly cannot think of a single rake that was lined up around Tony Khan's feet for this particular show that he did not step on. He stepped on he stepped on a couple rakes multiple times. The don't lie to your fan base rake. Stepped on that one. That was an unforced error right there. 100%. You know, I cannot imagine the Jacksonville Jaguars getting away with something like this. Even if this particular brand of crappiness and sleaziness was particular to him and his family, the NFL values their brand enough to not let the Khans get away with this with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And there's nobody to hold Tony back. There's nobody to tell Tony no. There's nobody to pull Tony's strings and to exercise any kind of control over him, because this is his pet project. And he's making the biggest mistake you could possibly make. He's screwing over the fan base, the people that pay the bills, that buy the t-shirts, that come to the shows. And the talent is doing everything they can. They're putting on bangers of matches. But if the writing is crap, if the organization is crap, if the marketing is crap, if the PR is crap. There was 8 months of build up to this show in August of last year. So I guess 7 months. There's been almost 7 months of build up to this show. And of that 7 months, the performers had control of roughly, an hour and a half of it? The actual hour and a half that they were in the ring. Tony Khan controlled the rest of it. And he really screwed over the fans. He screwed over the talent. He screwed over the fans. You know, I couldn't help but notice that this morning on X, Cody Rhodes reached out to Harley Cameron and gave her a hearty congratulations. And you know, I couldn't help but think, he's laying a lot of groundwork there. He is. He's paying attention to what's going on. He knows where the talent is. he's paying attention to that talent. Right after the Royal Rumble this year, when Jordan Grace, right after Jordan Grace got signed to the WWE, she posted a picture herself with her arm around Cody Rhodes saying, "This is the guy that got me started. Thank you for believing in me, Cody. You're the best, you're the best, you're the best. So great to be here at WWE." I thought back to that when I saw that post with Harley Cameron. And I thought, yep, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Harley Cameron's going to do the best she can. She's going to get screwed over by AEW. And then she's going to go to WWE. And maybe she gets buried there, and maybe she doesn't. But this is how companies die. Slowly, painfully, and then very quickly. Just like bankruptcy, that's how it happens. Let me know what you guys think. This video's gone kind of long, but there's a lot to cover here. I'm sure we're going to be touching on it this week on this Friday night show. Please let me know what you think down below. I mean, am I right? Am I totally off base here? I think this is exactly what's wrong. I think the matches are brilliant, but everything that happens surrounding the match is complete bullshit. And everything that's going on the business side of things is making us not care about what's happening in the ring. So even when shit happens right, we don't care about it. We're talking about something else. It doesn't matter to us. Because frankly, it's not nearly as interesting as watching Tony Khan step on rake after rake after rake. That's all I got, guys. I'm going to try to get some sleep. You guys should do the same. Check out our show on Friday night. Matt, Dan, and I are going to be covering the latest, including this show, I'm sure. And keep watching, and we'll keep wrestling with the business.